You are not selling art on Instagram because you're trying to get likes, comments, and followers instead of trying to get sales. And whatever you focus on expands. Now, at this moment, I have around 30,000 followers. Some posts reaching millions of views and thousands of comments on one single post. And with what I know now, I would be able to sell as much with 200 followers as with 30,000 followers. And so after watching this video, you will be able to sell art on Instagram no matter how many followers you have. Now, the first thing that you want to do is you want to reply to all the comments. I know that there are a lot of gallerists out there, artists, who are playing it hard to get and don't reply to the comments. Now, this is kind of BS because you're not coming over as a famous artist who is too busy selling art so that he cannot reply to comments anymore. That's just not how you come over. If anything, you're coming over as somebody who's lazy and who wants to watch Netflix instead of replying to the comments late at night. And so, a rule of thumb, everything under 50 comments under your post, you have to reply to all of them. Now, the reason that this is so important is because 95% of your sales will happen in the DM section. And so here's how it goes. A potential collector will, first of all, write some comments underneath your posts. And then if there's some back and forth, some kind of communication going on, they might go over in the DM section. Now, if you don't even reply on the comments, then they're not gonna bother sending you a DM. They're just not gonna do that because you're unreachable. And so you have to reply to all the comments. Now, how you reply is also very important. First of all, you want to, when somebody comments, you want to click on their profile, look at their name, and use their name. The most favorite word for most people in a dictionary is their own name. That's why they name their businesses after themselves. That's why they sometimes fund the whole wing of a library to name it after themselves. That's why they go to Starbucks and pay $2 more for a cup of coffee because there's a name on the cup. It's their name. And so their name matters. You go to their profile and you use their name in your reply. And then you also want to reply in something that's a little bit more than a thanks. Not 10 thankses underneath your post, but a real reply, like you would do in normal life. Now, a second thing that I want to mention or talk about is hashtags, tagging your location, tagging people, all of those things. Sure, if you put your location in your post and you use the right hashtags, there might be a local business that will contact you for a mural or anything like that. There might be an artist who is like, yeah, I live in the same city, want to meet up, things like that. But those things will almost never happen, and those are not valid tactics, therefore. You shouldn't be focusing on those things. There are no artists who are selling a lot of art because they're using the right hashtags. Those things are simple. Like, you can use it. I definitely use it, but it's not in my top 50 things that I do for my art career. Not even in the top 100, not in the top 150 or two. It's just not important. And so don't focus on these things. Now, there are a lot of people saying or talking about strategies with those things, with hashtags, with tagging, with all sorts of stuff. There used to be this thing where people would tag big accounts, very big accounts with millions of followers, and then a lot of people would go to those accounts and they would click on the section of people who tagged those accounts, and because there would be so many more people doing that, then there would be people tagging those people, there you would get like hundreds, thousands of views on your posts by those random people, and then some of them would follow you, etc., etc. And so you could get like 40, 50 followers a day with that tactic. Now, and so there are pages who were built who then have 50,000, 60,000, 100,000 followers with those tactics. And so that's very attractive. That's very tempting to then start doing those things as well. But I can promise you that those pages are worthless. They are worthless. They have no engagement. They have no targeted following. They don't have any relationship with their audience. They don't have anything. Those pages are worthless. They will not get big brand deals, and they will not make a lot of money, and they will definitely not sell art. And so that is something that you shouldn't be bothered with. Don't try to do those things. Don't do DM groups, like for like structure, super like, whatever. It's like all of that stuff is just not the right strategy. Those are not strategies to sell art. I know a lot of artists who have 50,000 followers on Instagram who don't sell anything. Now, a third thing that you want to do, and this is crucial, is to like this video the same way this cat likes ice cream, because those things really help out a lot with the algorithm. It really helps me out, so thanks a lot. P.S. This is totally my favorite cat, by the way. Now, as a fourth thing, let's talk about the DM section, because 95% of your sales will happen in the DM section on Instagram, where you can give free art prints to art collectors, do a strategy session, live call, Zoom thing where you sell, drive them to a sales page on your website, whatever fits the relationship that you build with that particular prospect. Now, opening a DM section, opening a conversation in DMs can be as simple as you sending a private message to people who commented several times on your posts, thanking them for that. But that's probably not the best way to do it, because then you are opening the private messages, you are opening the DMs, and ideally you want them to open the DMs, you want them to contact you. And so there are a lot of ways to do that as well. Let's talk about it. Now, one of the best ways for you to make sure that people contact you in a DM section is using stories, because Instagram has made it super easy for people to react to stories. Now, when reading those reactions of people to your stories, you have to notice that collectors or potential collectors are showing interest in your work. When somebody writes you a sentence, hey, this is an amazing piece, I love these colors, blah, 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 that is somebody clearly showing interest in your work. That could result in a sale. Now, this is an easy one. People notice that, but some artists already they don't notice that. And somebody's just hearting your work. That could be them showing interest. Perhaps for that person, it's very hard to contact you, and they're struggling with that, and they're a little bit shy, and they just want to heart it. That could be an interest. And so a lot of artists, what they will do is they will send a smiley face back or a heart back. That's not what you should be doing. In the beginning of your art career, when somebody shares that or hearts your stuff, you should ask them. You should ask them a question. Hey, why do you like this piece? What is it about this piece that interests, or that captures your interest, or whatever? You start a conversation. Remember the girl in high school that clearly showed interest to that guy and clearly showed signs that she wanted to have some kind of relationship, and the guy never noticed, and at the end of the year they didn't become a couple, and that's that. Remember that? That's exactly how most artists, or how at least 50% of artists, are missing out on sales, because they don't notice the girl, aka the collector, being interested in them. They don't notice. Now, this is huge. This seriously is huge. For myself, for example, how many sales did I miss out just by not noticing back in the days? I mean, at least 25. That is 25,000 euro right there that I just missed out. Like that. I mean, I bet that a large portion of you watching right now are doing exactly the same thing. Now, one of the reasons that stories is so powerful is because stories create a sense of urgency. First of all, it's only up there for 24 hours, which is already a sense of urgency. And then on top of it, you can also play around to create more urgency. Let's take this example, for example. You have a series of artworks, 3 smaller artworks, that you sell for fairly cheap prices. Let's say you sell them for 90 euro. Yeah. And you create stories around it, 2, 3, 4 stories. And you say that they are available in your stories. You give some meaning, etc., etc. Yes. People at that point are already thinking, wow, 90 euro, that's actually not too much. And they're fantasizing about what it would be like to own one. Now, 5 hours later, a particular collector that you had a good relationship with buys one. And you post that on your stories as well. So, first thing, people fantasizing about owning in a sense, in a relationship or communication mechanism that already has urgency, 24-hour stories. And then 5 hours later, they see that one of them is gone. Extra urgency. This is sales. This is something that you have to do. Now, this particular example will only work if you have 1,000+ followers. And those followers need to be targeted, need to be not just 1,000 artists who also like your work. No, 1,000 plus, of which a lot of them are collectors, a lot of them are interested in buying art. And so then this tactic will work already very, very well. So in essence, we first have to give them a reason to contact us. And then when that contact happens, you build that relationship out. Now, a reason to contact us can be very, very simple. It can be as simple as asking a question. For example, you share those works in your story and then you ask a question. Do you have any questions about this art process? Do you have any questions about these particular artworks? There are people who wouldn't have sent you a DM that now send you a DM because you asked them to. And so it's as simple as this really, but you have to do those things, of course. Now, another thing that you could be using the DMs for is driving people towards a live session, because selling live is always going to be easier than selling in a DM thing or through messages. And so what you could be doing is, for example, organizing a group Zoom call around a particular topic, whether it's investing in art or art conservation or whatever you want to talk about that you're very knowledgeable about. And then you invite 80 collectors. 15 of them show up, preferably collectors that already have some kind of knowing about you as a person, as an artist. And then 15 of them show up. You have an hour where you answer all of their questions. Let's say conservation, for example. You answer all of their conservation questions that they were never able to ask. And then at the end of that, you offer a particular amount of work available, let's say 3 artworks in a particular series available at a discount for this live session only. And then you have a little sales moment. This is a little bit scary for most artists. You have a moment there and you just have to jump over that, because that is going to be really, really powerful. If one person or 2 people, if one person already buys one of those 3 works and there are only 3 available and there's scarcity and they got a lot of value from you, they have that sense of, I have to do something back because this person gave me this much value that would have cost me a lot of money if I would have needed to pay for that, then there's a reciprocation sales mechanism in play, and that's very, very powerful. And so that's something to think about. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is finding art collectors, making sure that they follow you and inevitably, eventually buy from you. So what you want to do is, you want to do some prospecting. You want to go to art profiles, to art collector profiles, comment on their posts, like their posts, interact with them. If there's some interaction back, you go to the DM section, DMing them with value. For those who don't know, by the way, you can basically DM anybody in the world if you want to. You could, for example, DM my current tennis crush, Angelina Dimova, if you would want to. I mean, like, that's just possible. Joking aside, you have to DM people if you want to do that with bringing value. Don't ask stuff from them. No, bring value to them. And that said, you also shouldn't be doing the whole 180 strategy. A lot of people, what they do is, for example, they go to hashtag an relevant art hashtag, then they go to the top comments and then they comment on those top comments in the hopes that there will be art collectors in those comments, that there will be art collectors who have amazing comments that are ranking super high for those posts, and then finding them, and that's not gonna work. You're not gonna have a lot of collectors with that method. And so if you're doing that, even if you're doing that hours a day, you're gonna lose. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You want to do this, by the way, 2-3 hours a day. If you're an artist and you're in the beginning sections of your art career, you definitely want to do this 2 to 3 hours a day, but not the 180 strategy. What you have to do instead of that 180 strategy is you want to comment and like and interact with profiles that are, first of all, art collectors. So you know with certainty that those are art collector profiles, and you need to know that those art collectors have an interest in your type of art, in the type of art that you make and sell. And there is a way to do that. You can know that in advance. I can give you 200 art collector profiles in under a minute that are active on Instagram and have an interest in the art that you sell. In under a minute. It's actually fairly easy, but explaining that would be another 10 to 15 minutes and a completely different video, and so we're not going to do that. because I already did. It's called How to Collect or How to Find Art Collectors on Instagram. And if you're interested in selling art on Instagram, there's another video that I recorded, 40 minutes long. It's a long video, but it dives way deeper into selling art on Instagram than this video. You could be watching that, you know. My name is Dries Ketels. Why don't you subscribe? Subscribing is really good. You should definitely do that.